योगी राम सूरत कुमार की जय। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया।
योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया।
योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया।
योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया।
योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया।
योगी राम सूरत
कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार,
जय गुरु राया।
राम 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 Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jai Guru Raya. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jai Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jai Guru Raya. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jai Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jai Guru Raya. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jai Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jai Guru Raya. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jai Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jai Guru Raya. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. भगवान श्री योगी रामसूरतकुमार की जय। सर्वं योगी रामसूरतकुमारार्पणमस्तु। We have offered our grateful pranams
and the Nama lotuses at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. Today, again, we shall have some glimpses of Bhagwan with another family. Srimati Usha Jayakar has sent her experiences. Some of them are delightful and express the different dimensions of Bhagwan. Now, when she used to write a lot of letters to Bhagwan, as far as I know, if any bhakta wrote too many letters to Bhagwan, Bhagwan was not happy with it. He would always say, "Why are they doing it?" But Srimati Usha Jayakar was one exception. He welcomed her letters and he gave hints, he dropped broad hints to the effect that he liked her letters. He welcomed. When Bhagwan was at Sudama, I happened to read her letters also, read out to Bhagwan. And there I found that her letter carried such faith in Bhagwan. A questioning mind, a criticizing mind cannot have such faith. To create this faith in them and then to do the needful would be very difficult, very time-consuming. But I have seen in her letters, she would say, "Swami, I have such and such problem, but I know that you will do this. You will solve it. Your blessings would take care of them." She would sound very positive, and as far as she was concerned, it was a foregone conclusion. She never doubted his wisdom. In the beginning, when she was a little concerned, disturbed over some problems, she cried a lot. And when she approached Bhagwan, Bhagwan said, "For someone who chants the name, the divine name, there should be no agitation in the mind. So take up any name, any God. The one thing that required is complete faith in the words of the Master, complete faith in the wisdom of the Master." And he said, faith is God. At times he would say, faith is even greater than God. Because God might not grant something without faith. But if you have faith, the faith itself will work miracles. So she understood that, and thereafter her letters always carried such faith that everything would be a foregone conclusion for her. Now she has narrated one or two experiences. She says that when they had gone, she had gone with her relative, her husband, the family had gone there, and they were staying in Adar Lodge. And one of the relatives was making it late to get ready. She hastened and said, "Look, I have said that we would be there at 9 o'clock. When you say something to Swami, you have to keep it up. I have said we would be there at 9 o'clock and Swami would be waiting. So we have to hurry." But the relatives said jokingly, not taking it very seriously, "Oh, we can tell Swamiji the train came late. We can lie to him." Immediately she said, no detail ever escapes his attention. He knows everything. He knows what is happening here. We can never lie to him. Then he said, again further jokingly, making fun, "Oh, your Swami has a TV or something, that he would know what is happening here. He could see what is happening here right in his place." And then, of course, somehow they managed to make it at 9 o'clock in time. And then when this particular relative prostrated before Bhagwan, you know what Bhagwan said? "Oh, he says that this beggar has a TV here, that he can see everything that's happening elsewhere." Now, the relative was shocked. He didn't expect this, but he understood. Sometimes Bhagwan hardly ever revealed his siddhis, his powers. He always pretended to be an ordinary person, that he knew nothing except Ramana, and only Father could do things, and he always pointed to Father. He never revealed his multi-dimensions and his special powers. But that day, he had to say it to put the relative in place. So you see, no detail ever escapes his attention. Another time, when they had gone again with the family of a relative, Swami said, "This beggar feels that you can go tomorrow, you can leave Tiruvannamalai tomorrow." But the relative said, "No, Swamiji, I have work. I have so much work, we have to leave today." Then Swamiji, Bhagwan, kept quiet and then called Usha and said to her, "Okay, you people can go, but Usha, after you reach home, will you drop a line to this beggar by telegram that you reached safely?" And he said it 3 times. And of course, they all started by car. They crossed Tirukovilur, and then they found the whole road in this maize, a kind of maize, some millet, were spread across the road everywhere for drying up. So they had to drive the car slowly, but even then, there were cows standing here and there and also moving about. So the driver is none other than the relative who said he had so much work and he had to leave that day. He began to drive very carefully and slowly, yet somehow the side of the car rubbed against one of the cows, the backside of the cow. And the cow collapsed. It just fell down. Now the relative got frightened and he started to move ahead. One of those villagers standing there began to shout. So they moved ahead and then looked back, and then to their great relief, the cow got up and started to move about. So nothing really happened except the rubbing. So he thought with great relief, okay, that was over. But that wasn't. There was another villager who came across, and then he started to shout. And then another one. So soon the villagers started to shout. So they decided to go ahead fast, because if they only stopped, they would be beaten up by the villagers. This would happen. It's been the experience in many places. So he knew that if he stopped, they would all be beaten up. And the villagers were not in a mood to listen to anything. So he started to move fast, and suddenly they came across one villager carrying a bamboo pole. And then he threw it so violently at the car, it came and broke the windscreen into 1,000 pieces. All those glass pieces were inside and outside, everywhere. It was God's grace, Bhagwan's special grace, that these glass pieces did not get into the eyes of anybody, because there was every chance. And then they didn't know what to do, but they knew that they couldn't stop anymore. People would get more and more violent. So they moved ahead. They reached a certain place and carefully removed all the glass pieces, but the front side of the car was open. And they had to drive all the way to Virudhunagar, a place beyond Madurai. Quite a journey ahead. Anyway, they started after removing this carefully, and then the wind and the dust. So that was okay, they put up with that, but soon it started to rain. And the rainwater began to get inside. It was there everywhere in the car. And they were getting drenched. So they drove the car to one side and stopped it, and then they adjusted. They picked up the carpet they had put inside the car, and then they covered the front place in the place of the windscreen, and then they waited till the rain stopped, and after that they moved. Now at one point it was dusk, and soon it was dark. And then the car light was on, and the headlamps and all that. Soon the insects all around, they began to get inside, and one of them had struck the eyes of one of the children there, and it started to swell. So you see, with great difficulty, they crossed every obstacle, and all by grace of Bhagwan. And then when they reached Virudhunagar house, Usha knew why Bhagwan said, as soon as you reach home, you give me a telegram saying that you have reached safely. So they had reached safely, and she gave a telegram immediately. But she knew why he had to say it 3 times, emphasizing. And she saw what was involved. So when we go to Mahatmas, we should do as they tell us. There must be something to that which we may not understand. Some subtleties are there, we may not understand, but if we understand and act upon that, then it would be very beneficial to us. I have seen so many devotees taking things lightly when Bhagwan said something and then suffering later. It was late realization, late regrets. But then they would have suffered by then. These Mahatmas, they speak from their knowledge, from the inner knowledge. There must be something to it, more than what meets the eye. So these are some of the glimpses, and when they had gone, one of the previous times, Usha's husband, Usha Jayakar, was there, and Swami moved with them all closely at the time, and then he rested his head in the lap of Usha Jayakar, was lying down, and soon Swami went to sleep. At the time, Srirajani Rajagopal from Bangalore had come there, and Bhagwan had told her particularly to read Ramayana. And whenever she came, she would be asked to narrate some chapters from Ramayana. So that time also, when Srimati Usha and Usha Jayakar had gone there, Rajani Rajagopal had come and Bhagwan asked her to narrate a certain portion of Ramayana. And then of course he laid his head in the lap of Usha Jayakar and went to sleep. Now, as Rajani was narrating the story, sometimes she would make a mistake in pronouncing the names of the rivers or the villages, and sometimes in narration she might forget the name of a place that they passed through. Those times, promptly, Bhagwan would open his eyes, correct her, and then go back to sleep. This is something I found very interesting, because this has been my experience also. I had read out so many books to him, and this was something that I had noted down, that Bhagwan, at once, he could sleep and be alert. When we all sleep, we sleep totally unaware of the surroundings. But when Bhagwan slept, his body slept, but he was always awake inside. This is the characteristic of the consciousness, the divine consciousness. The divine consciousness is ever conscious. When this divine consciousness alone works through a body, the body would act as body. It is still flesh and bones, but the inner consciousness would ever be awake. It would be wakeful and alert. This is something I had noted in Bhagwan, and here Srimati Usha Jayakar also narrates this. That imagine somebody narrating Ramayana with all those names, names of the rivers and places, and the names of the people whom Rama met on the way, and Bhagwan, who slept, had a sound sleep, and yet whenever she made a mistake, he knew, and immediately he pointed out and went back to sleep. How could anyone at a time sleep and be awake? Just imagine. So we can never compare these Mahatmas with anyone. They are a class unto themselves. And it's very difficult to understand them. They have different dimensions. We can only wonder, but never understand. We shall offer our today's prayer at the feet of Bhagwan. Bhagwan, we beg you, we know that you are here right in front of us, in the Murti, in deep Samadhi. If you look at the Murti of Bhagwan here, if you go near and look at his eyes, you could see them fixed on Brahmarandra. And yet, there would be a beautiful smile on his lips, and his hand is raised in benediction. One hand in constant japa, the other raised in benediction. Now, when in Samadhi, in complete union with God, the state of Samadhi, and yet this state is full of compassion as well. The immediate expression of compassion, the only expression of compassion is the Abhayahasta. I'm here, don't fear. But you have to do what I say. If we closely follow his instructions, then we would stand to benefit. There's a constant flow of grace from his hands. And so, Bhagwan, you are ever wakeful. You are ever alert. You know the problems of the devotees who come to you. We beg you again and again, because that's all we can do, for your immediate divine intervention to free the world from the grip of these viruses. They seem to be still at work, even though the damage is not so much. It is still spreading and causing trouble. We beg you to free the whole humanity from this once for all, and protect us from such a situation in future never to occur, and bring back a dharmic normalcy in all aspects of life everywhere. Only you can do it, and all that we can do is beg. We also beg you to uproot all the negativities of the mind, which is what has invited the whole situation in the first place the past 2 years. We also beg you, Bhagwan, we beg you, for the sake of all those unselfish people who are already working very hard for the sake of the others, please give them protection and all-round welfare. And we beg you for a lift to our economy, and we pray and pray soulfully for unbroken remembrance of your name. Knowing the name sharpens one's brain. The name destroys our past sins. The name prevents us from doing further sins. And the name purifies us. And Bhagwan has said repeatedly, it helps not only the chanter, but the people around and the whole world, and above all, his Father's work. We beg you, Bhagwan, to be fine instruments only in your hands and not in the hands of Maya, so that we could run our everyday life as an offering to you. And finally, we seek that ultimate grace for that ultimate state of bliss Sachidananda, for which we need complete purification, then we could see your vibrant, living presence everywhere in everything. Please bless us to be able to see your sankalpa, your will, in all the happenings of life, in all the happenings of the world. Please bless us, most importantly, to be able to see your hidden grace even in the most devastating experiences of life, knowing that the suffering comes because of our past karmas, and yet it carries a huge blessing from you to push us towards God. For the suffering happens for our greater good. We may remember a particular incident that happened in Sudama, that when I had this question in mind, why would God, an ocean of grace, give such sufferings to people? It was so difficult even to read out the sufferings of people. And the question kept occurring to me, why would God do this? What is the big idea behind it? It's so pointless. And then Bhagwan pointed to a footrest, which was a gunny bag. He said, something is written there, Devaki. Can you read it out? Here I had asked a very heavy question according to me. And all that he said is, will you please read out something written there in the gunny bag? So anyway, I obeyed, I went there and I read out. It was written in Tamil. It said the gunny bag contained number 1 strong rice, cleansed of the small stones, the bronze, and the broken bits of rice. And it was number 1 strong rice. And then he smiled and said, Devaki, that is the answer. I was wondering what connection it is. Something written about rice on the gunny bag. And the question I put before him. And suddenly, by his grace, as it always happened, it flashed that all the sufferings come to us not only as the effect of our past karmas, they have a mission, they have a specific function of cleansing us of all the unwanted things so that we would become number 1 offering, strong and fit to be his offering. So let us learn to accept everything that life brings to us, no matter how negative it is while it's happening. Take it as a blessing in disguise and be grateful to God. Bhagwan, we also beg you, for the sake of all the species of the cosmos, which are whatever level of being, be freed from the state of misery and be lifted to a higher plane. And finally, we seek that supreme blessing. It's not possible except in special circumstances when there is complete purification, to be free from the vicious cycle of births and deaths, to be free from the evil of the ahankar, the ego, the root cause of all the evil in the world. Please free us from the tyranny of this ego and give us that state of fullness, that state of bliss, so that we could live ever, eternally, in your eternal being. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.